Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Well, happy Easter to those Christians who celebrate their God's resurrection today. And the issue that we're going to discuss today is also the White House proclamation of today, the 31st of March of 2024, as the Transgender Day of Visibility. So some Christian denominations celebrate Easter today, and some other segments of the population celebrate the Transgender Day of Visibility. Two things that overlap in the same day. Let's discuss that. From the get-go, I am not a believer, but I have no problem with you guys celebrating whatever you want. Either way. Transgender Day, celebrate it. Easter, celebrate it. Don't impose it on me. And don't tell me that's a good thing, and if I don't celebrate, that's a bad thing. You're a bad dude, Emil. And also, do not impose that in public life, which is you can't get a job if you're not a believer, or you can't get a job if you're not a transgender, or vice versa. I'm all for personal liberty and freedom, as long as it doesn't infringe with other people's rights. Now, it's very, very tricky with the rights, isn't it? Because we were proven already that our rights are temporary privileges, since they can be given and taken from other human beings. And we know those rights supposedly come from the Creator. Nevertheless, so what's going on here? We have two articles, one from Russia Today, the other one from Associated Press. I picked them from the Russian side and from the, Associated Press, if it identifies with America or with France or with Israel or with whomever. But nevertheless, let's look at the first one. Russia Today, 31st of March 2024. Biden proclaims Transgender Day of Visibility on Easter Sunday. The White House has also banned religious-themed eggs from the annual Easter egg roll event. The other one, Associated Press, the Trump camp and the White House clash over Biden's recognition of quote-unquote Transgender Day of Visibility. From the get-go, another get-go here, I have an issue with the government proclaiming days. Because we have 365 days in a year. There are more than 365 issues that we have in the world. People who worship, grass, or trees, or people who like dogs, or people who like sex, or people who like to do other things. So all those things that could unite us could be, if you put them together, will be more than 365 days. So obviously someone decides what needs to be celebrated and what needs not be celebrated. So that's very exclusivist way of promoting something and discriminating against something else, to use their term. If a government really wants to unite people, could pick, days of the Day of the Good. I think that would unite overwhelmingly the population. Yeah, we have some people who like to do bad, but nevertheless, if, let's say, the US government would have liked to celebrate unity, would have said, well, the Americans' Day, not the 4th of July. Because the 4th of July, some people hate it, and some people love it, and some people don't fucking know what's going on. So the Day of the Americans, you're here, you're American. Or not the day of the, settlers, not the day of the immigrants, not the day of, Tom Jones. Some people might not like Tom Jones, okay? That's not unifying. My issue here with this is that to start with, and the other one is, how come these things overlap? Do you think that was a coincidence? Well, okay, if you think there were a coincidence, let me give you another insensitive coincidence. Easter is not like falling in the same day every year. It's rearranged and rearranged and rearranged every year. Usually it's a different day. I don't care, that's their business. But I think that Christianity as a historical movement, as a number of worshippers or I don't know, members, it's a little bit bigger than the transgender. So however you want to look at it, you celebrate, let's see, Albert Einstein versus an obscure scientist somewhere in, I don't know, Bangladesh. Okay, it's kind of like, heavyweight versus no contender here. So I think the White House, besides the fact that I think it shouldn't have been proclaimed such a day, for the reasons I already mentioned, you also create, not only that you miss and you discriminate, you don't have but 365 days. The same thing I'm against calling and assigning months. This history month, that history month, this month, I'm against that. Because you divide us. You have only 12 months and you decide that that particular group or particular issue should be celebrated. You create problems, you don't unite us. Who's dictating this? Who wants this? I'm talking about it because, see, that's a pendulum. It's or action and reaction. So when they say, well, look, we got Adolf. Adolf just came out of nothing. No, he didn't come out of nothing. He came from a reaction to something. So that something that was done, that action, put the pendulum on the other side, swang very much to the other side. They say, well, how did we get Trump? Trump is this, Trump is that. The same way. How come the far right has so much following in Germany, let's say, and not only? No, Alternative for Deutschland. Why is that? How come Geert Wilders in the Netherlands got to have his biggest party elected? It's the reaction to something you guys fucking pushed. So I remember the same thing with transgender. Be careful for your own good. This pendulum that you've been pushing it too much. And when you poke someone in the eye too many times, even the calmest idiotic individual, the baboon, will smack you. Why? It's a limit. It's a tolerance limit, right? And I'm talking about the tolerance we're supposed to, like take out pants down, bend over, and get fucked whenever these guys want. I'm talking about the government and the mass media. No, not that kind of idiotic. Not having an open mind, which is accepting everybody's idiotic opinions. No. Open mind is to listen to it, okay, and then analyze it and then come with your own conclusion. So be careful when you push these kind of things. You push it too far, you're going to have a reaction, negative reaction, even from the baboons who did not care. You, rattle the whole thing and you upset people in such a way that you form more enemies. The same thing with a specific group that becomes more, one specific group, I will not mention that group, that becomes too obvious to all of us, even to the baboons, by being in very important governmental positions all over the world, in the Western world. They show up too much and they will be exposed, and they expose themselves by bragging that they are where they're at. And the pendulum will go over there, and that's not going to be good for them. Now, regarding transgender and homosexuality and all, the LGBTQ people, do what the fuck ever you want. Don't impose it on anybody else and leave the kids alone. As I say the same thing to the other guys, to heterosexuals. Leave the kids alone. All right? Don't impose it on anybody. Just do your own thing over there. But when you work through the government and try to push an ideology, well, there you have going to have the pendulum swing on the other hand, on the other side. Remember when the homosexuals how they started with, hey, just let us do whatever we do, let live and let live, or whatever, something like that, remember? From there to requiring us to sometimes show enthusiasm. If you don't show any reaction, you must be a hater. Now from there to there, they picked in the process a lot of enemies, like this thing. Why did they put it Transgender Day of Visibility on the 31st of March? First, I don't think it should have been any. All right, if they want to celebrate it on their own, you're right, do it, my friends, do it. But to be something that they make it like it's going to be what, the day off now? I don't think, 365 days, not too many, but too many issues. Now, what should they have done? As I said, not do it like that. The Christians do their own Easter. You say, well, wait a second, the government imposed that on everybody else to do it. I disagree with that one too. I don't think it should be a national day on Easter. For some, I don't know if you know, or anything like that. You do it, you're a group, you do it, well, we all that. But there's some of other groups that really don't celebrate that. They're not part of it. You exclude them. You're not very inclusive. Anyway, let me give you an example, which I don't think this is a coincidence. You can say, well, it's a coincidence because the Easter date always changes and all that. Oh, okay. Let me give you an historical fact. In the 25th of December, 1989, the then leader of Romania, the communists, Nicolae Ceausescu and his wife, Elena Ceausescu, were mowed down against a wall in a military base after a scandalous fake trial. It was a fake trial, that was. And they were killed on the holy day of the birth of Jesus Christ, the 25th of December, right? Or Christmas Day. So who ordered that? Do you think that remember, the Romanians are Christian Orthodox. They say, well, they were communists. They were not. They were churches. Churches were open. There were priests. Priests were coming when you get married. Priests were coming when you got a child. Priests were coming when you die. There was not, it was not like that. The churches were open. You could go over there, enter the church. I entered many times during communist times and worship. And as an adult, as a child, you could have gone and do it. So, okay. Nevertheless, someone decided to give a very ugly blood stain on Romania and Romanian culture about what? By dictating these guys to be killed against the wall on the 25th of December 1989. I think that date was ordered. I will live and die with that assessment. By whom? By people who are not Christians. Who are they? The communists? It can't be the communists because the communists were overthrown by the, who ordered? Well, I can only guess, because you don't really know yet, even though you should know. The problem is these guys are not circling those guys and ask them a few questions. But they're still alive. Some of them are still alive. No, it hasn't been done yet, as far as I know. So again, the fact that these things overlap here, maybe it was a coincidence, but for me, first, it shouldn't have been a date like that. For any, or heterosexuals, this sexual, that shouldn't be. That's my preference. I think it shouldn't be because you're going to miss a lot of other things. For instance, I worship certain kind of individuals, or let's say maybe worship is not, maybe certainly is too much, but I admire and I would like them to be celebrated in a society, and I think that's a good thing. I'm part of certain organizations. I think that those organizations' ideals should be promoted. Do I expect you to follow them? No. Will I impose it to you by having the government decree that this little group should have its own day in a 365 limited day of the year? No, I don't think so. So again, happy Easter, my Christians. And people who celebrate the Transgender Day of Visibility, go ahead, but just be mindful that the pendulum is gone, I think, too far for too many. And if certain things need to be protected by the government against the majority, that's not a good thing. It's not a good thing. I can see only a negative reaction. I'm going to see some positive over there, but I think overwhelmingly you're going to wake up even the baboons. And the baboons act like baboons. They're not going to come and talk to you. I hope we don't get to that one. Remember, history has many examples when the pendulum went too much to the left and swung to the right, or went to the right and swung to the left. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.